So what is Come Home Laika about? Come Home Laika is an action-packed platform shooter game about Laika, the first dog in space. Stranded on alien-infested planets, you, the player, must help Laika fight for the solar system in order to return to Earth. So our game is based on the real story of Laika, the first dog in space. She was originally a stray mutt from the streets of Moscow, where she was picked up by Soviet scientists for their extraterrestrial experiments.
Our game is a platformer, so in terms of mechanics, we have movement with WASD, we have aiming and shooting with the mouse, and then our level design is based on planets in the solar system, so we have like a level based on Pluto, a level based on Neptune, and then at each level, you're going to have to work your way through the enemies, the aliens, and then your goal is to eventually get to the spaceship and escape that level. For dynamics, we have the storyline of the dog Laika. We also have a variety of different enemy types, different aliens. And then we have different dynamics for different planets. So for instance, different stages have different level of gravity. So Pluto has a very low gravity, other planets have higher gravity.
For our aesthetics, we are making all of the art ourselves. We want the feel of the game to be really simple and fun, so we're putting in a lot of focus on making the levels really simple and clear and very distinctive to the planet they're trying to represent.
One of the things that I'm proud of for this project is that I've implemented a sort of level editor. So our game has like tiles to make up the level, and this can be sort of represented, I realize, with a like a pixelated image. So for instance, you can draw a level out in paint or something. And so, for instance, in this image, the green tiles represent the green pixels represent tiles in the level, and the red pixels would represent enemies, aliens. And so you can draw a level out in paint and then import it into game and have it as a level in the game.
All right, what is going well? First off, we have a very solid foundation and outline of the game. The only thing we have to do is build on top of that plan. And we have a great coding function which works for all the states, and we only have to just call the coding function in each state, and that works very simply, works very well. And also, we have a keyboard moving function and shooting with mouse that works really well, exactly as we wanted. And lastly, we have a game aesthetic that looks great, neat, and pretty attracting. And we also have some ongoing challenges, which are making stages. Of course, we have to make 7 more stages because we have more planets in solar system. And we also need some map precision. We want to make sure all the tiles and the platform are there for the reason. And aiming precision, we realized that some of the shooting mechanics are not shooting as accurate as it should be. So we're thinking of changing cursor to an aiming point so we'll shoot more accurate. And we have a user interference issue, which does not move with the character, it's just staying as it is. So we're looking forward to change that. And of course, we have to learn Phaser commands in order to accomplish those stuff. And lesson learned throughout this project is that having a solid plan and solid foundation is very important, because since we have those solid foundation, we are actually comfortable of what we're supposed to do. And task-based work is very important, because if you're only putting time as a goal, it's just not working well, and task-based work is a lot more efficient in a way. Of course, time management is important. You want to make sure you contribute each like certain time in each week. Importance of communication. Every time you're done with your work, make sure you share with your friends, because that way you will know what you think about those functions or those aspects. Maybe you want to fix them and not use it as an aspect. And speaking of which, trust in your team, because sometimes smallest thing can take longest time. It may not look like they're not working, but they are actually working for you and with you.
So for the upcoming sprints, we have 4 things that we want to focus on. The first is creating some of those environment-inspired constraints we talked about. So for example, a timer on a planet that's toxic. We also want to introduce new kinds of platforms to make the levels more interesting. And the third thing we want to do is add more final bosses. We want the game to get more challenging as you progress. And then finally, we want to add mini quests into each level so that we can bring in like a storyline back into the actual gameplay.
questions?
So in one of the earlier slides when it was showing the gameplay, do you aim with the mouse as well as shooting? Because in that GIF it looked like it was just shooting in the direction the player is facing.
Oh, it has a
it's-
small mouse.
It's aim and shoot with mouse.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Are you guys gonna have like a final Earth level, or?
We're actually thinking about that because based off the storyline, we didn't make a full storyline yet. But if we decide to invade Earth, we can do that. If we decide to just make a peaceful ending, we can just arrive at the Earth and then just get what the game ends.
Good ending, bad ending.
Cool.
Please let Lakita live. I can't stand if she dies. I had a question about Lakita. When I looked at Laika, sorry, why did I stop Lakita? For Laika, it looked like in the images you made her look more like a cute little humanoid Shiba Inu, but in the original pictures it looks like she's more of a mix. Was that intentional to make it look cuter?
Yeah, so I chose, or her color scheme is yellow, red, and blue. So just for like color harmony and like standing out from the background, I kind of changed her breed.
Okay, I was just curious about that. She still looks so super cute.
Great.
All right, some feedback. The first slide had a lot of text on it. You could use bullet points for, again, building bullet was good. The main thing is the aesthetics had slide didn't talk about aesthetics at all. Kind of like didn't use any of the materials that we have learned about aesthetics to describe the aesthetics. So that's something to work on. All right. Anybody else?